Shoot. Good evening, and welcome to yet another episode of the FPV Livestream. Once again, I am your host, Paul Nurkala, otherwise known as Boba Fett FPV. And tonight we are building a Falcon Multi-Rotors 130 for one of our subscribers. His name is Diego. I believe he lives in San Francisco. I think he also has a Shrieker, and so he's kind of used to the 130 class of flying, and has been falling in love with it himself. I last week built the Apollo Atmospheric Adventures Apollo 1, and I've been flying that a bunch, and it's a blast. So I'm pretty excited to see what this is doing. It's got some more powerful motors. It's got a KISS flight controller, and so it's going to be quite the little rocket ship. So I'm looking forward to it. So no sponsors to thank today except for Diego, but everything's going back to him anyway, so really I'm doing him a favor, so I'm sponsoring him, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, we'll jump right into it. I'll first kind of walk through the parts that we're going to be building, and then we're going to go ahead and continue on from there. Alright, let me show you, my little spiel, I always forget it. If you're a first-time guest, I'm super excited that you're here. We do this every week, Thursdays, usually at 8 o'clock. Tonight it was at 9 o'clock because I needed some time to make some dinner with my lovely wife. If you are a returning guest, I'm excited that you're back. It means it wasn't totally boring the last time, so that's pretty good validation. And if you're a vendor, thank you so much for stopping by, and let's talk and work on something together. Very similar to what we're doing today, but more focused on promoting a particular product. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to get something out there. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. USB. Okay. So, first off, we've got our frame. This is the Falcon Multi-Rotor 130. That should be everything. Yep. So this is the frame. It's a tiny little 130 from motor to motor quad. It's got a top plate here. We've got mounting hardware that's going to run all the way through. And then it also has an HD camera mount top plate, which we're not going to use today. So that's the frame. For motors, we have, these are RCX 1407 3200 kV motors. These are really powerful 3-inch motors. I'm really excited to see how these perform. I've got DYS 3100 kV 1306 motors on my personal 3-inch quad, so I'm excited to see what happens. So those are going to be fun. For speed controllers, we've got our trusty little B 20 amp ESCs. This quad is not going to pull 20 amps, but it's worth. These are really cheap, really small, and you can't really save that much weight with other speed controllers, except for maybe the ones I used on the live stream last week from Ready to Fly Quads. For power distribution board, we've got the Ready to Fly Quads 12 volt, 5 volt output PDB. I love this thing. It gets the job done. It's no nonsense. It's good. So that's that. For flight controller, we're using the KISS flight controller. So if you've never seen or set up for yourself a KISS flight controller, this should be an eye-opening experience for you, and I think it'll be really fun to fly with this guy on there. This is a XSR Free Sky receiver. I've used these in the past. They're great. They're nice and small, nice and light. It's going to be interesting figuring out where to fit all of it, so that's going to be fun. For video transmitter, we have a Hawkeye 32-channel raceband VTX. I didn't realize that these had dip switches. I'm kind of disappointed in that, actually, but we can't have it all, can we? And for FPV camera, we've got a little 600 TVL micro cam. I am going to have to I'm going to have to mount it with hot glue, I guess, because the 3D printed thing that I was trying to get a hold of ahead of time fell through, so we'll see what happens with that. That might be a little bit tricky. So yeah, that's what we're building. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing that I'm, what? The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm on a stream. I can't tell you that live to a bunch of people, too. Sorry about that. Okay. The first thing we've got to do is hook up the flight control, or the power distribution board. So I'm just going to dump all this stuff on the table here. We got a ton of different mounting hardware, and it's kind of tricky to figure out exactly which ones go where, but I've kind of found a way that I like to do it, so that's the way I'm going to. It's probably not exactly the right way, but it's the way that I'm going to do it, and that's that. So I like to have the bottom power distribution board all nice and locked here with this. Got it? You try it without the second E. What? What? Okay. E. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the equipment, or this thing screwed on here. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Andrew, and I agree that that's probably the right way, but I have the way that I like to do things, and it's not that way, so I'm going to go ahead and do it my way. Don't tell Lasdy, the maker. Most boring live stream ever. Guys, it's at desk struggling to get screws on. Apple Eye says that Lasdy is probably here watching. Can you put a parts list / order links together and post somewhere? David Stockdale. Yes, I will do that. I've totally dropped the ball on getting it done ahead of time. I usually have the links all ready to go before we even start the stream, so that's my fault for dropping the ball on that. Before we get too far, I'm going to put a strap in here, because once you get too far, it's really frustrating to have to go back and try to add it. So I'm going to do that. I can find one. I had a small one here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. It's a cute little guy. So that should fit. Big ol' battery underneath there. Yeah. Sorry, new here. Do you build subscribers quads for them? Generally, I prefer to work with vendors, and this is actually the last subscriber build that I'm going to do for free. After this, I'm going to be trying to I'll still do them, but I'll probably be looking for a part or something like that in exchange for the build, just because I do usually have a pretty good backlog of builds that I'm going to be working on. But so if you do want something, built, let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out. But we might have to work out a slight deal. Do you like podcopters better than a normal quadcopter? By podcopters, I assume you mean having all the electronics kind of wedged into this one little square on the top. Yeah, I think I do. I've got right here, this is my personal Multi-Rotor Mania scythe. That's a quadcopter, as well as my Apollo Atmospheric Adventures Apollo 2 um, Artemis, which is down there, but I'm not going to go reach it. Okay, so power distribution board on. Then we're going to be able to put these things on here eventually. I'm not going to, well, I guess I'll do it right now. They will fall off probably pretty easily. And then we can lay the flight controller in on top of that with any luck. And it will all kind of squish down nice and neat-like, but I don't want to go too far because sometimes these get a little stuck. Yeah. Okay, so these are just going to end up falling off, so I'm going to take them off again. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is mount the speed controllers. So that's going to be probably the trickiest part of tonight's build. Why do you hate me? I don't hate many people, so I'm sure it was a miscommunication. Why do you think I hate you? Pods are better, I just don't like the look. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I like the look of some H-quads or freestyle X-quads, like the Alien is an example of that. Better, for sure. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of electrical tape on each arm to act as an insulator against the carbon fiber, because I'm going to lay the speed controllers right on top of this. Do you sell your builds? No, but I would definitely be open to doing so. Curtis asks, are the KISS flight controllers all everyone says they are? I don't know if they're all everyone says they are. I did fly one for a couple weeks, and I generally liked my experience. The reason I didn't keep flying it was because I couldn't afford all KISS flight controllers, and for me, as my primary use is as a racer. I can't go from firmware to firmware, from quad to quad, because I lose the consistency of them all flying roughly the same way. And if they don't all fly the same way, then it's going to be tricky for me to become a better pilot. And so it just kind of, that's just why I have chosen not to use it for now. I'm going to give it another shot here, actually in the not so distant future. So be looking forward to that. Okay. One mounted on there just like that. So, and frequenters of the stream will know that I choose not to use heat shrink. I think it makes it hard to repair in the field when you need to just quick swap an ESC. I'm just putting on there to hold it down in place. How do we contact you about a custom build? You can reach out to me at thefpvlivestream.com. There's a contact form somewhere, or at paulnerkula.com. Amjerco21 asks, what flight controller do you use? So the flight controller that I use on my personal builds is almost exclusively the Flip 32 F3 from Ready to Fly Quads. It's a nice, cheap ESC or flight controller, but it gets the job done. It's F3. It's got all of the features, and it's $20. And when it's got features and is cheap, I cannot complain at all. So that's the flight controller that I use on all of my builds. Literally, all three of my main quads, or all three of the quads that I race with, have the same exact flight controller, same exact ESCs, and receiver, and VTX, and camera, so that everything is just consistent across the boards. And that makes for a better performance, personally, I think. How often do you fire an ESC nowadays? Well, I'm kind of beta testing some right now, and I've had a couple go up recently, actually. So, but I'm not going to talk more about that because I am in the testing process and trying to help the vendor figure out what's going on exactly. But usually never. How do you balance racing parts inventory? I build good relationships with vendors that are willing to sell me parts for cheap. But I almost always have, when I go to a race, I will have 2 spares of everything. Oh yeah, all of these little Bs are pre-flashed to 14.5 BL Heli, so that's, just so you know, it should be nice and smooth power all the way through. Okay, so now I've got all of the ESCs mounted. I'm going to just go ahead and wire them up right away so that all of these wires are out of the way while I'm trying to work on everything else. So I gotta wait for my iron to heat up here. I've read, let's see, did you get multi-shot working on those ARM ESCs? No, not yet. I will post an update when I get it taken care of. I've read Cyclone is very close to KISS FC. They made this board for racing only. I thought that the main differentiator between KISS and everything else was the firmware. So when you say that it's the Cyclone is very close, I don't know how to interpret that because the firmware is totally different. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is tin up my pads here. Assuming my iron is hot enough. Yep. Okay. Okie doke. So now we're going to wire up the ESC power connections. I'm going to try to make these nice, tight, and clean so that we save weight and get everything out of the way. Find the wire strippers. There it is. Ugh. And then always tin your wires. Let's see, is this short enough? Nope, that's too long. I'm going to trim off another couple millimeters. Tin the wire. Pad is already tinned. I need some tweezers. And power's on. Okay, now the ESC is grounded, and I'll leave the wires for the flight controller off to the side for now. These nylon standoffs are here just to hold the power distribution board down for now. But I am actually running nylon standoffs on my other quad, on my other 3-inch quad, on my 3-inch quad, and they've held up to some pretty big crashes already, even mid-air collisions. So I'm just saying, don't count it out. It has 5, and I think what's helping is that the battery strap is wrapping the top plate, which is held on by the nylon standoffs. So it's got some good extra support from that, I think. But yeah, there is potential for it to end catastrophically, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay, 2 hooked up with power. Zoom this in a little bit for you guys, I guess. Now for the next one. Let's start with power, actually. Something like that. These are regular Little Bs. They are not Little B Pros, unfortunately. The Little B Pros came out actually after all of this stuff was shipped to me, unfortunately. But these will still do a good job, especially for a 130 quad. Having that absolute top-end performance probably won't be a huge deal. So I don't think there's too much to worry about. Okay. 3 hooked up. Damn, aren't you not afraid of desync issues? I am not afraid of desync issues. I mean, this is only 3200 kV. It's not like it's 4000 or 8000 or something like that. Could someone from FPV chat PM or mention Debosh and make sure that he knows that we're live right now so that he can watch if he wants to? Okie doke. All of our ESCs are now wired up to power. We'll still have to do the grounding and all that stuff, but you know, that's a good start. So now we'll get some motors on there. These are all the same locking direction, so that's going to make it pretty easy to just we can just stick them on in pretty much any order we want. My quick disclaimer, as always, is that I do not use Loctite during the build video or build stream because it takes a lot of time to do that, and we don't have a ton of time here together. So always be sure to Loctite your motor screws. Let me see if there's an easy way to remove this extra bit of heat shrink. It is just going to cause problems for us. Oh, that's annoying. So what's happening is that this extra chunk of heat shrink is now totally in the way of me being able to wire up these motors without doing something like this, which I guess isn't so bad, but it's not the prettiest. I guess we'll have to do it like that because I can't take it all off. I wonder if he actually goes back and Loctites them. Not as often as I should. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do this one while we're looking at it, just to make sure that our little theory here is going to work. Yeah, man, I can't control this. White Noise says, "What's up, Paul? What's up, Kevin?" Okay, so this is a little bit ugly for now, but once we just cover that up with a layer of electrical tape, I'll just demonstrate. It'll look a lot better, and it will be maintainable. And then if we ever need to move these motors to something else, then we haven't cut like every bit of motor wire away to the point where we'll never be able to use it again. So it'll end up looking something like that, which isn't the cleanest thing in the world, but it's good. That's fine. Marcus asks, "Are you going to be doing this with BL Heli?" No, I'm not, because I can't use pass-through on a KISS Lite controller. So I'm going to be reversing the wire. Zevi says, "Cool looking little build. Thank you. I think it will turn out great. I'm really excited to try out these motors." Red Wolf says hello. Hello, Red Wolf. If I get my mouse built, the 3-inch races are on. 3-inch races are already on. My 3-inch quad is beating your 6-inch quad. On big courses. Although it's currently having a weird technical issue. I think I need to ground the ESCs on it. It occurs to me that you may need a camera mount. Yes, Hythe, I do need a camera mount. And I asked you a few times to get me one. And yet, I am camera mountless. Throw some red bottoms on this bad boy. They wouldn't fit anywhere, but that would be awesome. Hello from Poland. It's 3:40 in the morning. Go to bed! Are the motors you're using the most badass motors that you can use on this 130mm frame? I think so. I guess I don't know the hardcore answer for that, but my understanding of motors would lead me to believe that slightly bigger, slightly lower kV motors would be able to have enough torque to spin the really big, like dowel tri-blades, for example. So I can see it working really well. That being said, I don't know the real answer to your question. I have a KISS ESC and flight controller set. Should I try them with a small quad? That's totally up to you, dude. I have no preference one way or another. I tried my KISS flight controller on a big quad because I wanted to get the full flight experience. I don't think that little quads handle quite the same, though they are fun. So I wanted to know what it felt like on a big one. So you'll have to decide whether or not you're looking for the best experience or just something to test it on. I don't know. Hello from California. Hello from California. It's an interesting name. Hello from the Caribbean. Dang. It was nice out today, at least. Not Caribbean nice, but nice. What motors were they again? Well, I haven't flown these yet, but they are RCX 1407 3200 kV motors. But these seem like they would be the ones to beat. Sorry about the stream freezing. I don't know why it would have done that. Is that a wireless soldering iron? It's a butane soldering iron. So the answer to your question is yes, but not in the way you thought. Butane irons are way better than LiPo irons, FYI. My current electric wired soldering iron is down for the count right now. I need to crack it open and see what's wrong with it. But I had this available and it works really, really well. So I was just like, okay. All right. 4 motors wired up. Once again, it's a little ugly right now, but we'll go back and clean that up. But we don't want to sacrifice cutting off every single bit of the motor wire, so that if we ever need to transplant these motors, there's at least a little bit of length left on them. So it makes it for a little bit uglier, but I think it's going to be the best long-term solution for this, in my opinion. But not everybody will agree with me there necessarily. Okay, so we got to think forward into the build a little bit here. We've got our KISS flight controller, which actually runs off of LiPo power. So I'm going to wire this directly to the speed controllers so that it is totally independent. But then we also have a 12-volt VTX and a 5-volt camera that we're going to want to think about. So I'm just kind of trying to think through how to best do this. Luckily, I can reach in and access those 5-volt rails fairly easily, but not these ones. So I'm going to wire up the KISS flight controller right now while I'm thinking about it, and then I'll be able to add in the 5-volt and 12-volt required things later. Power the cam off the VTX. That would also work. Both of those would be good solutions on this. Okay, so I'm going to put power onto the KISS flight controller here. So power is on the outside. So we'll put a power lead on the outside there. I'm just going to trim this off a little bit. It's a little bit longer than I need it to be. Okay. Same with this one. Okay. And then we probably don't need this much wire, so I'll cut it back to, say, there. Strip. Are you supposed to put a cap to protect the flight controller with little bees? I mean, there's not going to be huge voltage feedback on these tiny motors, will there? Okay, so I guess we'll make this the front. Oh, I need to tin these. Okay, before we get too far, I need to put a battery lead on there somewhere. Which I have to steal. Are we maidening tonight? We'll at least hover it in the basement here. For sure. Where'd the other piece of heat shrink go that I literally just cut? There it is. What type of antennas do you prefer to use, and what do you think about the Triumph black sheep antennas? I wonder if these are big enough. They're the same size as the ESC wire, I believe. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm not going to draw more than 40 amps through this, so. which engine are we using in this frame? 1407 3200 kV motors. Oh yeah, so antennas. I prefer circular polarized, right or left hand doesn't matter. It's good to have both for a variety of reasons. And then I prefer to make my own over purchasing anything because it is significantly cheaper, and I am a cheapskate. So it, and if once you get practiced at building your own, they're just as good as production versions. So, and regards to the black sheep antennas, I've heard they're very good. I've not actually used, well, I've used one, but I've never owned one, so I can't speak to that. But I hear they're very good, so. Okay. I bet you I dropped a bunch of stuff already on the ground. There's one. It disappeared. I'm missing one more of these things, and I guarantee you it fell on the ground somewhere. Why don't I see it? Well, let's see if we have an alternative solution. Here's what we can do. Is this going to be your first time flying the KISS flight controller? No, it is not. Too tall. Should work. What solder are you using? That. you kidding me? I just dropped another one. I hate those things. They need to have a thread on them. It's so stupid that they don't. Sorry, one second. I got a wire just slightly in the wrong spot. I'm trying to move it out. Lovely. Okay, so now I don't want to get that really too far put in there because I have to get both on the top and bottom of the flight controller to wire it all up. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. What are your thoughts on the KISS flight controller? Okay. I was trying to say this earlier, but basically I like it, but I can't afford 3 of them. So I don't fly mine because I want to have my quads all feel the same. So until I can afford to have a whole bunch of them, I'm not going to bother trying to get super comfortable with it, if that makes any sense. Because it's not going to, it will feel totally different from everything else that I'm flying, and I can't have that when I'm trying to compete at a race. Okay, so I printed out a handy little KISS flight controller cheat sheet here so that we know where everything goes. Okay, so we've got the KISS flight control logo up here, so I've got it matched up now. And then we need to put S-bus 5-volt ground for receiver right there. So we'll just kind of tin up pads that we know we're going to use. And then PWM 1 and 3 are down on this side. So this one and this one. No, this one. So we'll start with those. Apparently it's really easy to accidentally blap these FETs, so I'm going to be really careful about that. We are going to be running S-bus, by the way. So this is PWM1, so this is where motor 1 will go, and that's motor 1's ground right there. Then we skip 1, and then we have PWM3, and PWM3's ground. And now I also know that KISS's motor layout is different, and I forgot to print the layout map. KISS motor layout. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Might as well just write that down while we're thinking about it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So we'll start with motor 1, which is this guy. Okay. Okay, so this is 1. I gotta wrap it around and wire it like so. So I'm gonna leave myself a little bit of slack because I need the flight controller to come off fairly easily. Because I need to be able to access the underside for PWM 2 and 4, or motors 2 and 4. Thought you don't need the ESC ground. I am in the habit of always grounding my ESCs because it has solved some pretty serious problems for me. So different people will give you different philosophies on that. But the answer is probably no, you don't need the ESC ground, but I'm just in the habit of doing it. So it only takes 5 more minutes. Okay, motor 1, done. So now motor 3 is this one. So we will just go ahead and take care of that one right now too. Okay, PWM3 is the 1, 2, 3, fourth one over there. Wait. 1, 2, 3, fourth one over. So I screwed that up already. So ground, TRX, ground, or PWM, ground, TRX, PWM3. So, oops, this one instead. Okay. So motors 3 and 1 totally wired up. Now we've got to get access to the bottom side to do the other 2 motors. One or 2 and 4. Yes, this is 2. Well, sorry, Paul. This is past my bedtime and work comes early. Thanks for another great live stream. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you were able to come out for at least a little bit. Okay, so like we said, this is motor 2. And PWM2 is right there, conveniently behind my power wire. So PWM2, so it's ground, TRX, PWM2, ground. So we have ground, TRX, PWM2, ground. Let's get these out of the way as much as we can. Okay. So PWM2 is this one, and its ground is this one. And then on the other side, we have PWM4. So PWM2, ground, TRX, PWM4. So ground, TRX, PWM4 is this one. And its ground is the next one. Okay, so first we need to do motor 2. Give it that much wire. Yeah. Okay. So we'll put PWM2 on here. And its ground. And now motor 4. Ah, whoops, jeez. Solder dried quick. Been back to the tank. That's killer video. Oh no, I haven't. That's a few hours from me, so it's not a place to frequent. Plus, I think it's technically a war memorial, so I'm kind of afraid to go there because I don't want to really upset anyone, particularly our fantastic veterans and all that. But once was enough. Voila. But there's a KISS flight controller. Minus, the receiver. I'm just trying to route these wires just a little bit different. It's tight in there. It's not an impossible fit, but if the wires are between certain elements, it does not fit for sure. I think that'll work. Yeah, motor 1 is right here. And this is the motor 1. Yeah, it's definitely the one that's hooked up there. Okay. Let's connect it up to the computer. Check these motor directions. Okay. Alright, let's check out the desktop. Yeah, putting to the bottom of the board is a pain in the butt, that's for sure. Okay, so we are building a quad X. We've got PWM 1, 2, 4, 3, just like that, yep. We are using S-Bus for free sky. We'll leave PIDs alone for now. We'll leave all this alone. 125, one shot, yes. Not 3D mode. Aux 2 will be my arm. Save. Forget how to do motor testing. Does anybody remember how to do motor testing in here? Or is there not a way? Alright, prepare for magic smoke in 3, 2, 1. Yay! No explosions. Well, why don't... So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually just going to finish assembling the quad first so that I can make sure I know where I'm going to put all of the rest of my electronics. Otherwise, I might cut wires in a way I don't want to. So let's do that first. So this guy's going to go on like that. Gosh, the top plate's huge. I love it when it starts to look like a quad. It's so great. It's very satisfying. Okay. So for VTX, we got this monstrosity. Wish this lead was a little shorter, but it's okay. We'll figure out something to do with it. I'm just trying to think of how to make this work. So that we can still access the bit switches and all that. What I kind of want to do is do something like that, where it's kind of sticking out the side like this, so that you can still access the dip switches really easily. I'm not sure if that's going to fit in there. Let me grab some props. The hole in the top plate was designed for those dip switches, but this VTX is stupid. Like, because now these connections are all the way out into the camera angle thing, and the other way, now it's covering up the hole. So I guess I could mount the antenna out the side, I guess, but then we'll have cables running straight out the back, which would be ugly. I guess this is really the best way to do it. So I guess it'll have to be like this, with this guy going out the side. It doesn't fit 90 degrees. I tried that. So let's see. Probably easier if we just take this top plate off, huh? Are you running the KISS FC or is that diagram sitting there? I am running the KISS FC. Gosh! Hate it when I drop stuff. It's so obnoxious. Oh my gosh, I dropped another one. Oh my. One of those days, man. Okay, listen. If you build Falcon 130, do not use a Hawkeye VTX. It does not fit anywhere. Time to break out the hot glue. There we go. That is much better. Okay. So sorry about that. There are the dip switches. The wires are unfortunately coming out the back, but there's no way around that. Paul Lee 1 FPV says, "Hey Paul." Hey Paul E 1 FPV. Pizza's on the way. We're making a mouse tonight. Nice. Just can't hold off, can ya? Alright, and I'm going to dab a little hot glue in here just to help lock it all in place. I don't want it escaping. And now, BTX ain't going nowhere. Alright. Now what to do with the receiver. Actually, let's mount the camera while we've got the hot glue hot. Oh, I hope it's focused. Shoot, I didn't think about that. Oh my gosh, that's aggravating. Why aren't these plugs directly compatible? That's so stupid. Oh my goodness. So the problem with the camera is I don't know if it's focused yet, and if I hot glue it, then it's not. Then I won't be able to focus it again very easily because I've got to put some on the lens probably, or on the, not the lens, but the. Once I did that, which I guess would work. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. There we go. It's a little off center still. Okay, let's worry about the receiver while that sits. Ask Paul runs a dipole on his 3-inch. It works fine, seriously, yes. Yeah, I run a dipole on my 3-inch quad, and it works fantastically. I mean, I'm sure that a circular polarized would be better, but, you know, you're never flying a 3-inch quad like miles and miles from yourself, so why not keep it easy and durable and light with the dipole antenna? I wish I had mine right here. I don't even know where it is. I think it's in the car right now. Okay, receiver. So if this is on here, then it should just fit fine in the back. Actually, I bought. Where did it go? I bought some mounting tape today. I want to try it out. There it is. I don't know how good this is, but I'll give it a shot. Where's that receiver? Oh, there it is. Oh, that is sexy. Look at that. It's a mess of wires in the front, but look at the back. Whew. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? Okay, so now for XSR, I should just need 3 of these. I'm pretty sure it's the sequential ones. Let's see. Ground, 5 volt, S port, CPPM, S bus. So I need the last one, and get rid of the 2 in the middle, and then the last 2. So goodbye. Goodbye. So now I just need to wire these guys. Did you have the beard when you started mounting that GTX? Very funny. Sometimes it's worth finding the good long-term solution, even if it takes a few minutes. Does anybody have wire strippers that work really well on small wires? Mine just do not cut it. Cut it, cut it. Thought that was supposed to be a KISS flight controller tonight. This is a KISS flight controller right there. It says KISS right there. Go back to bed, Samuel. Go back to bed. Okay, now I need my KISS schematic back. So S-bus is the outermost one. Tweezers. And it's, oh, this is not quite the wrong way. Sorry about that. Volt. Okay, that's nice and tucked away, which means I think we could actually power this on and arm it, hopefully. There's a battery. Receiver powered up. That's good. I need my translator. So this might be a pain because some of the buttons on my Tyrannus are a little bit wonky. Okay, we're in bind mode. Okay, good. Going to release power there, release the bind mode. Of course, now my enter key is stuck. I tore down the Tyrannus not that long ago to swap the case and get all the colors and stuff. But the why are you not bound? There we go. Voila! Okay, we're bound now. Alright. Now let's open up Kiss again. Which ESCs are these? They're little bees. Super glue on the tabs. I put a little hot glue on them. I think I also need to like sand it out a little bit because now that there's paint in there, it's not good. Desktop. Kiss. USB. Data. Okay. Roll is good, pitch is good, yaw is good, throttle is good, aux2 is that one. So if we disconnect, connect, I want aux2 high to be arm. Save. Data output. Data. Okay, they're all spinning. That's a good sign. Now I need to check direction. Okay, this one is spinning. Next, okay, so this one needs to spin inwards. Of course, now it's not spinning at all. That might actually just be a bad solder joint. That's funny. Pretty sure I need to reverse this one anyway, though. So it was spinning the wrong way for a second. So that motor doesn't want to spin at all. Okay, that one's spinning the right way. That one's spinning the right way. That one's spinning the right way. So if we can just figure out why this one's not spinning, then we'll be set. Really interesting. Pretty sure it was spinning for a second there. Let's see, that's motor 2, so it's on the bottom. That's unfortunate. Oh, sorry. Ah, what happened to my camera? What in the world? I hate this thing. It's like, it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. It does stupid stuff all the time. Just do your job. And it's back now. So weird. Alright. Motor 2. Why do you not want to work? Okay. That connection looks fine. That connection looks fine. That connection looks fine. So it's all good there. I didn't push those, so it shouldn't be that. It's gotta be an issue on the Did you wire that up with 2 leads on the FC or the signal wire soldered on and power on the PDB? They are both directly soldered to the flight controller. Those connections look great as well. Damn it, camera. This is how you get yourself replaced, Mr. Camera. Oh my god. Come on, you piece of... One second, sorry. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm literally just sitting here. Hello? Oh my goodness, this is aggravating. Oh, there it is again. For a while. Alright, let's try this once again. There it goes. Okay. Now everything is spinning the right way. Jeez! Okay. So now let's wire up the FPV system here. So that's the big mess of wires. That is the signals. And I've misplaced the power cable, of course. Oh, here it is. Okay. Plug in the power. Okay. So the white ones are audio cables, which I'm not going to use. So I'm just going to get rid of them. And then I need to just directly wire this guy right to the camera. So I think I'll just desolder the camera, because why the heck not? It's going to make it a little bit easier, I think, than trying to rewire the entire, or do the like heat shrink tubing and all that crap. I need a crimping tool for Molex amp and servo thingies. Any suggestions? I do not have any suggestions. I don't use things like that because I'm lazy and would rather just solder it. Samuel asks, how many quads do you have, Boba Fett? I think at any given time I try to keep 2 FPV quads ready to go that are normal, like I would take them to a race and drop them on a race course ready to go at any time. I have my 550 hexacopter, which is kind of an experimental build that I've been dinking around with. But I wouldn't, you could call that a quad, but it's not really a tool. And then I have a line of sight acro quad, like warp quad style, that I have been practicing with a lot lately. But it's currently out of motors, so I need to replace them. Unfortunately, it met with some concrete. I got 2 motors at the same time. So I like to have 4 at the same time. Oh, I also have my 130 quad. I forgot about that. So I try to keep 5 running, I guess. But right now only have 3 running. that wiring look right? I always have to double check with those cameras. No, it's not right. Pizzy, are you here? Can you take a look for me? Pretty sure I've got these two backwards. Although it's not backwards on this thing. This doesn't really clarify either. Thanks, Patrick. I'm opening it. Well, so this has got to be right, it looks like. That butane iron is impressive. Yeah, I know the power is right. It's the video and ground that I'm uncertain about. But I'm pretty confident I've got it right now. And now, these won't need to be super long, but let's make sure that we got the right. I would like to. It depends on budget constraints. Figure I solder quite a bit, so why not get a decent decent soldering iron. Yeah, Nelson, um, my old station died on me, and I don't have the gumption to troubleshoot it at the moment. I don't have any good antennas for this thing. All mine are too big. So this antenna is super ugly and super old, and I don't use it anymore. Just disclaimer. I just need something to put on here for now. Oh, I can cover up this motors finally. Was the cat in this shot for a sec? Looks like she's asleep over there. They don't like, my cats do not like to be picked up or anything, so I wouldn't be able to get her over here, and I can't take you guys over there. They are both pretty adorable, though. I spy a Paul. Hey, Jordan. Jordan, are you going to send me a Shrike row? Please? Yeah, that's what I was saying about the antenna. Is like this. I think this is literally the second antenna I ever made. I don't fly with it anymore. It's just a small one that I had sitting right here. God damn it. Okay. It's most of the way there. I think we can go ahead and power it up now, though. Although I just noticed it looks like the mic on the camera is touching a pad on the flight controller, so I'm going to see if I can adjust that a little bit so that we don't have any sad. Zach's yelling next to me so I can't hear, but yeah, I just finished my 3-inch awesome quad. Well, so send me one. Send me one of those frames. You guys can CNC them, so I know it's not too much trouble. I'm sure it's been said, but what size is that little beast? It's 130 millimeters motor to motor, so it swings 3-inch props exclusively. All right, let's see if we got the FPV system wired up. I'm gonna run and grab my ground station real quick because I've got to. I don't know what race band or whatever this is on. I'd rather just scan for it. Be right back. That thing's going to be sweet. Are you going to go follow up post of it flying? Yes. I guarantee I will. Get some power. Do those motors take a regular motor nut? Yes, they do. Alright, here we go. FPV system wiring. Saw a blip of some sort. Hmm. Well, let's open her back up. Yo, Paul, what's that thing weigh? I'm not sure yet. I haven't weighed it. Oh, you know what? If this thing is on race band by default, my receiver doesn't have race band, so that might be part of the problem. Let's change some switches at random here. Hmm. Well, maybe we have the camera wired backwards. I'm looking for my Hawkeye pinout. Let's see. So if we have frequency A, frequency B, I want down. frequent gun channel 1. It's up, up. So it should be set to 5740 right now. Okay, 5740. We've got nothing. Is there something with NTSC and PAL that I need to be aware of? Oh. Oh my gosh. I'm plugged into the wrong thing. I'm an idiot. Wiring on my ground station is not correct. Okay. This for that. That male to male. So if we plug this munchkin together here, switch to channel D, 1. Still nothing. Yeah, it's pretty locked into 5740. So now I think the camera is wired incorrectly. Yeah, the VTX is definitely on. The receiver is locking into the correct channel. You know what it was? I think this battery might be overdrawn. Where's my multimeter? Yeah, there's the issue. This 3-cell has 5.8 volts in it. Oh boy. All that. UAV features ball is the camera from Banggood. Yes. Yes, it is. My goodness. Wasting everybody's time tonight, even my own. Tonight, on being bad at building mini quads with Boba Fett FPV. Hey guys, let's go to school. Alright, what do you say we get a hover test going on this bad boy? Well, I gotta grab my prop tool. Okay. Gosh, these the freaking motors are so long. I'm just trying to find any nuts I have in here that are like actually long enough to fit. What the heck? Like I can't even twist the nylock ones down far enough. Oh, I've got a zip tie in the way. Are you kidding me? Okay. I think we're set. Grab a battery. Okay, this is a 4-cell 1000 mAh. Alright, so don't judge me too harshly on this because I don't generally fly KISS, so it could go horribly. As with everything, I guess. Okie doke. Oh, you know what? I don't have any modes set. I need to add an acro mode, or else I won't be able to fly it. Oh wait, is it acro mode by default? It must be. Alright, well, let's try it again. Well, there you go. See you, Stu. All right. Falcon 180, maiden flight. It flies. Now for the FAA weigh-in. 0.0 grams. 160.2 with everything. And then with a 1000 mAh 4 cell. I think this is almost 100 grams, so yeah, 275 still requires FAA certification, probably mostly because of the antenna. Oh, did I do that whole thing with desktop mode on? I'm sorry. Shoot. So, yeah, there you go. You can, pretty sure you can get 850s that are under 100 grams, but that's still going to put you over the FAA limit. The places I could reduce weight would be the motor nuts, the antenna, some of the hot glue I used. I could probably have used a little bit less, a smaller VTX without such a big SMA cable. Yeah. Does anybody else have something this size dry? What their weight is? Let me go grab my 3-inch quad. Sorry about that. 145G, 15G lighter. That's crazy. So this is my 3-inch quad. And it comes in at 152.6, and it's got a much heavier frame, so I'm a little surprised by that. With props, with caps, small antenna for sure, and then with a 1000 mAh battery. Yeah. $247. No, wait, that's the lie. $260. So, I don't know. But yeah, the VTX and the pigtail, the antenna, the hot glue, that would all reduce weight a little bit. Is the person that wanted to see the hexacopter still here? Ugh. So yeah, that's how you build a Falcon multi-rotor 130. Alright, I'll pull out the hexacopter here real quick. I brought it in. It's ugly as crap, but you guys wanted to see it. Okay. Gonna cover up my FAA registration number. So it is a 550 hexacopter. The motors on it are all. Show here. Let me take this off. The motors are all 950 kV T motors. I got them from the clearance sale that 3D Robotics had. So there's one on each arm. They swing. These are 10x4.7 props, slow fly, and I think this will swing 11. There's a good amount of room between the tips. Unfortunately, the wooden booms that came from flight test with this frame are like warped. So you can actually see, if you look real close, that this one is like tilted in a little bit. They don't match up perfectly, so that's a little frustrating. Then I have on it an HS1177 with a 2.1 lens. It's just got a 3D printed piece that I had sitting around, hot glued to the bottom, then the cam's glued to that, and then there's more glue holding it on. And then the FPV system, I've got both the camera and the VTX wired to this 12-volt voltage regulator. This I was using to mount a camera. I've got this ancient 600 milliwatt VTX that I've got that I've just had sitting around forever with one of my DIY right-hand antennas. There's little Bs on each arm, and it's got a Flip 32 flight controller, and somewhere underneath there's a 5-volt voltage regulator. I think I'm using pin headers on this actually, and not direct soldered. Should be able to see. Yeah, there they are. It's got a D4R2, because that's what I had sitting around with one antenna pointing down, and then this antenna is usually up or sideways. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to it. It's an ugly hunk of junk, but it's actually really fun to fly. Oh wait, I've got. There's 3 really bright LEDs on the bottom. The front 2 are green, the bottom 2 are red. Let me see. Where'd that force out go? Batteries just like to disappear. We'll plug a 1,000 mAh 4-cell into this. That'd be hilarious. Oh, stupid camera is gone again. Let's switch this to this one. So you've got your front two motors here, your back two there, and then the side ones don't have anything. And yeah, little B20 amps on it. But this thing should lift a few pounds. I haven't really tried to see how much weight I could lift. What kind of flight times are you getting? Before I added the FPV, I did a 23-minute hover test in my front yard with a 4-amp 4-cell. So I've got a two 4-amp 4-cells that I also got from that 3D robotics sale for $10 each or something like that. If you watch my video from the other day, you can see it's running the 4-amp battery. It's a 35C battery, and it's got 2 HD cameras on it, and all of the gear that you saw there. I think by itself, it comes in at something like 850 grams or something like that. Let's see if I can get this away. Eight hundred and 74 grams. Yeah, 874 grams without a battery or anything. So yeah, I'm going to be screwing around with that a little bit. I've got some kind of interesting thoughts on things that I could potentially do with aerial photography, so I'm kind of trying to rig up my own custom rig. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, with a regular clean flight board in there, I can do anything I want. I mean, it goes inverted fine. It does backflips. I did a couple power loops. I was doing, proximity flying next to trees. Top speed is probably in the 50s. It's not super fast, but it's with the slow fly props on it. I don't think it can get up there. But if I get some like Groppner wooden props or something like that, could probably get moving pretty quick. So yeah, there's things to do with it. So I'm curious to see what I could pull off, I guess, with maybe a cheap gimbal and throw my Xiaomi on there or something like that, and see if I can like do some really cool aerial shots where I'm kind of ripping through, not ripping, but just shooting tighter gaps than anybody would take their Phantom through. So we'll see. Ideally, if you're a filmmaker and you want to film a chase scene, gimbaled, I could take this thing and, I could easily, as a, pretty decent pilot, just take that quad and fly it, within 5 feet of a car, in a chase scene or something like that at 45, 50 miles an hour. So it's like, I wonder if there's some interesting applications there. So I'm building it. It's cheap because $3 motors, $40 frame, $8 ESCs. It's no big deal. And so I'm curious to see what kind of things I could pull off. So I'm just kind of taking my time putting it together, and next step is a gimbal. So, I'm going to practice a little bit more and then get the gimbal on there. Somebody asks, will the 20 amp Little Bees handle that prop? Yes. The motors with 9x4-5 props never pull over 20 amps at full throttle on a 4-cell. So 10 maybe pull over 20, but I'm never going to be running at full throttle, and the Little Bees are honestly fine up until 30 amps or so for their burst. So I don't see it being a problem. I was running it pretty hard the other day, just like it is. No big deal at all, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to log out for the night. It's been a blast hanging out with you guys. We built up a Falcon multi-rotor 130 quad. I'll be flying around tomorrow. I'll probably post some DVDs or DVR in the raw flights section of my YouTube channel, which you can go check out. And then until next time, I'm not sure what we're building next. I gotta go double check and see what's going on. Yeah, that could be interesting. So we might be experimenting next week. Anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by. It's been a pleasure. Once again, if you're a vendor, let me know. I want to hook you guys up with a live stream and get some people checking out your products. Until then, have a good day and then weekend, and stay flying.